Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Michael. Welcome to Be the True Rich. If this is your first time here, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and also turn on the notification bell to get notifications when we post our new videos. Thank you. And if you're following us from our first video, thank you very much. I'm sure you had a very great time watching my last video where I was talking about change, and I'm sure a lot of you had a thrilling time reading the book Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson and Kenneth Blanchard. Yeah, that was a very interesting storybook. Let's call it a storybook. But it really showed how we as humans find it very hard to change. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of you now are having a different thoughts about change. Yeah, like Einstein said, stupidity is repeating something over and over the same way and expecting a different result. We're not stupid people, we're very smart people. So you should always know the difference between being stupid and being smart. Okay, they are both S words, okay? But the only thing here we keep stupid is what we say here. Keep it simple and stupid. Yeah, it's going to be very simple for us to understand everything. Now, I got a lot of replies from you guys. I got a lot of DMs. Wow, thank you very much for your feedback. And yes, we're going to do more. We're really going to do more. We're not stopping. Yeah, and for all of you who want to join the study group, don't worry, we'll give you a very affirmative information about the study group as soon as possible. As soon as we get it running, we'll let everyone know about it. So once you want to join, you know about it, and especially for those of you that asked, you'd get it. Okay, now having considered change as a basic element in our life and in the way we see our finances, like I always say, this knowledge, this contemporary knowledge, was not taught at home, and it was not taught in our schools, because a lot of our teachers too, they don't and they didn't even know most of these things. So how would they teach you? How would they give you what they don't have? So it was not taught. Yeah, now we're bringing it here as simple as it is to dish it out. The first thing we're going to be looking at change is the words we speak. Yes, I'm not talking positive thinking here. Don't think I'm talking about positive thinking. It is not it. You know, I learned from my rich dad, Robert Kiyosaki, that your reply to a question can either close the doors of possibility or open the doors of possibilities. Okay? Now, a lot of us in our everyday lives, we have challenges. There are questions popping up in our minds. There are questions people bring to us every day, and most of them are if we can or if we can't do certain things. You get? So now a question comes: can you achieve this project? And you look around yourself and you're seeing every impossibility that can be read out of the book is right in front of you. Your response at that time can either shut the doors of possibility or open the doors. And there are two major responses people give, and they fall in the category of I can't afford it or how can I afford it. Now, a lot of people want to live a good life. A lot of people want to achieve great feats, great heights. A lot of people want to do things that have never been done before. But due to the circumstances surrounding you, the question pops up, can you do it? And you go ahead and say, I can't afford it, because that is actually the reality anyways. Because they say, let's face facts, let's face reality. Yes, the wrong thing here is you facing the reality in that way, because the minute you say I can't afford it, your mind shuts, your thinking cap falls off, because you've already answered the whole question even before it came. You've already closed the doors of possibility. When you say I can't afford it, the rich don't say I can't afford it. It is the poor that say I can't afford it, because poverty is not in your pocket. It starts from the mind. Like I said, this is not positive thinking. This is very practical. You can go and practicalize it in your everyday life. When the question comes, can you do this? Can you achieve this? Can you build this? Can you make this happen? And you go, I can't afford it. I can't do it. You've sealed a red pig there, like it's not going to happen. And I bet you it is never going to happen. You're never going to be that person. You're never going to have a solution to that problem. You're never going to have answers to questions, because before the questions even came, you've answered it. I can't afford it. Now, in the other way, what should you say or what should you do? Not ignoring the circumstances, because I'm not saying, look, the reality is not there. That's not it. That's not the testimony here. It is not that you're not seeing. It's not that you don't know. It's not that you don't know that you don't have enough money.
No more worries over grocery items. Get your items delivered to your doorstep in 24 hours. Shop now on spree.africa.
The educational qualification or the mental stability or whatever it is that you need to achieve that feat, it is there. All the barriers are there. You can see them there, and they ask you the question, can you do it? As a rich person. Now, this is a change in your reaction. Change. As a rich person, your answer should be, how can I afford it? How can I make it happen? How can I do it? The minute you ask the question how, your thinking cap goes on. I'm telling you the truth. Every billionaire you see today, every successful person you see today, did not achieve it by saying I can't afford it. In fact, it's the statistics that says that 95% of billionaires today are first generation. So it means before them, there were no billionaires in their family. Yes. And if they had to lean on, I can't do it, I did not go to school, I didn't graduate from Harvard, I didn't go to Manchester, I don't have the connections, I don't have the money. If that was the thing ringing in their head, they would not achieve anything. The minute you ask the question, how can I afford it? Leave the rest to play. Your mind will keep on revolving, your mind will keep on working until you achieve it. If you need to make a contact with somebody, the only way you make the contact is when you ask, how can I do it? Then the thinking bulb comes on, the thinking cap is on. If you need to liaise with a group, if you need to call on somebody, if you need to read a book, if you need to study more about something, if you just need to do the extra to achieve it, the how changes everything. The question, how can I afford it? When you make the statement, I can't afford it, you sealed it. You're not going to do it. Forget it. Because the minute, see, there are a lot of reasons, a million of reasons why a lot of people who achieved so much in their lives should not have achieved it. Yes, if you go through their biography, you find out that these people were not even close to it. But because they asked the simple question, how can I afford it? I admonish you today, stop saying you can't afford it. Stop saying you can't do. Stop saying the government is against you. Stop saying your family is against you. Stop saying nothing can work for you. Can you just ask the question, how? How can I afford it? The minute you begin to ask how, the possibilities will come rolling in your presence. They will come rolling. And step by step, you're going to achieve it. Well, as usual, I would always leave you with some materials to go through, some very interesting books to study, and today I'm actually going to be giving you a movie, a very interesting movie. Now, to learn more about your response to life's challenges and work challenges and things that will come your way, a very good book to start with is Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, that book really changed a whole lot of things, most especially my response to challenges. Now, instead of me having to say I can't afford it, I learned to say how can I afford it, to ask the question how can I afford it. He writes very much there about his rich dad and his poor dad, and he said the reason why his rich dad was always rich and growing in wealth was because he kept on facing challenges head on with the question, how can I afford it? While his poor dad would always say, I can't afford it, we can't live in that house, we can't drive that car, I can't afford it, I can't afford to give you better education than this, I have family problems, there's school fees to pay, there's life happening here and there. When you study the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, you'll find out how to best use your words to rearrange your environment, to rearrange your mind, to rearrange your future and what you do. Now, another interesting book is Donald Trump's Art of the Deal. I mean, in that book, you'd see one man breaking deals.
Get the best deals on all items on Spree.Africa. Shop now.
Judging by the circumstances surrounding Donald J. Trump, he would not have closed the big deals he did at the time, like the Commodore, Trump Towers, and some other beautiful projects. But by asking the question, how can I afford it? His brain goes to work. He makes connections. He makes deals that pays off at the very long run, and he became one of the richest men in America. And one of the richest men we have in the world today. One of the richest presidents who ever ruled America, Donald J. Trump. By reading that book, Art of the Deal, that book was written in 1987. So you can see how much knowledge you can tap from that book. And I'm telling you, by the time you're done with it, nothing will be too hard for you to achieve. All you just need to do from then on is ask the question, how can I afford it? How can I make it happen? And like I said earlier, today I'm going to be referring you a movie, a very interesting documentary movie titled The Men Who Built America. The Men Who Built America. Like the saying goes in the book, America was not discovered, America was built. Going through that documentary, The Men Who Built America, you'll see the likes of J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, Cornelius Vanderbilt, and Henry Ford. And you see how these men, by asking the questions, how can I afford it? Even with their very humble backgrounds, when they started off, and they later became the world powers, and are, in fact, are still part of the world powers today. Like, a very good example is John D. Rockefeller, who owned Standard Oil. And of course, when Standard Oil was decommissioned, it was decommissioned into over 200 companies because of the monopoly they said he was controlling them. Of course, the 200 companies you have today are still Chevron, Mobil, Texaco, and so you can see that it is still going on. I'm not talking about the monopoly. I'm talking about how much he could achieve by asking the question, how can I afford it? Before John D. Rockefeller, petroleum was transported by means of vehicles from location to location. John D. Rockefeller was the first person to design how to transport petroleum using pipes underground. The same way Henry Ford was the first person to design an assembly unit for cars that made cars cheaper. Same way Cornelius Vanderbilt reduced transportation to the barest minimum. The question they kept on asking themselves was how. Carnegie started building bridges that were said could not handle elephants. The question was, how can I do it? And they made it happen. J.P. Morgan revolutionized banking. The question they had to ask themselves was how. You'd also find Thomas Edison there revolutionizing electricity. You'd also find Nikola Tesla there revolutionizing electricity at the same time. The question was, how can we make it happen? I'm sure when you get that movie, you can get it on the History Channel. When you get it there, you watch it and you will learn how to ask the question, how can I afford it? And not shy away by saying, I can't afford it. We're still taking the series on change, changing the conversation. As of today, we've changed our response to questions, our response to challenges, from I can't afford it, from I'm not rich enough, from I'm not from rich family, from my family is against me, from the government of my country is against me, from my country is a very bad place to do business, to how can I afford it? And yes, when you understand how that question works, how the question, how, the answers will come rolling. Thank you for watching and remain blessed.